Good evening, good people. All right. I decided that each episode I want to try to come on early, just to get in a good headspace, just to allow God to download anything He wants me to say or anything that I'm feeling on my heart. So just listen to a little bit of gospel, to keep myself in good spirits. If you don't know who Miranda Curtis is, you need to Google her. She gets me to a place every time I hear her music. She's so good. But I'm just super excited about this episode in particular. It is family, and I'm so proud of her. Just was going over some things, thinking about some stuff with our family, and I truly feel that this episode is absolutely going to bless. Like I said, this platform is to help us to be encouraged, empowered, and of course, educated. There's so much going on in the world, and sometimes a lot of what happens is, as we grow, we're in our own little worlds, and other things are going on that you may not know about that may be affecting you vicariously. So that's another reason why I really want to bring light to certain subjects. I'm excited. I have such an awesome lineup. I'm trying to fit everybody in. You guys keep praying for me, with my schedule. Also pray for me to get space to, do a little bit more, I have some ideas that, I'm keeping on the wraps. I just know God is going to move because this is all to glorify Him. This is not about me. I keep telling myself that I'm late doing a podcasting thing, but I feel like now that I'm doing it and I'm jumping out there on faith, it's really, really right on time. So, just continue to pray for me that I just allow God to move and to be, or He desires for me to be on this platform. I just keep hearing Him say, be specific. So for those of you, who have a prayer life or who, desire to get closer to God, be specific in your prayers. I promise you, I will pray certain thing one day and the next thing it's happening. We were in church one service and my pastor's daughter shared how she prayed about something before the service began. And by the end of the service, she was praising God. She had a new praise because He had answered her prayers during the service. So be specific in what you are asking God to do. And please understand that, the answer He gives you, it may not be what you want, but obedience is better than sacrifice. That is not a cliche. That is the word. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And if you hear from people who are, I don't want to say successful, who have positively progressed in certain areas of their lives, like marriage, like raising children, in their background, in their fields that they've chosen as a career, you will hear, I've never heard anyone not say that they did not sacrifice. Okay. So sacrifice, obedience is better than sacrifice, but they had to let go of something to get what they needed to get. So in this season, you want to be asking God to make your ears sensitive, to make your spirit sensitive, to hear what thus saith the Lord. You want to be able to hear Him with clarity, where there's no confusion, because He's not a God of confusion. When we see people say stuff about double-minded, that's not God. He knows what He desires for us. He created us with purpose. So you want to be specific in your prayers. You want to be specific in the moves that you're making, because everything we're doing right now, there's like a ripple effect. You may think it's only affecting one thing, but it could be other things that it's affecting. So you want to be authentic. You want to be clear on the things that you are doing at this time, because there's so much going on. We see the things that's going on with the courts, and it's just really, really sad. It's just really, really sad that we're going through these things, So be specific in your prayers. Be specific in your prayers and the things you desire from God. And remember to always go to Him. It's okay. Yes, it's cool to go to other people, but He knows you better than you know yourself. He knows you better than any person on this planet. He created you with purpose. So go to God. Seek Him for certain things. Be specific in the things you are seeking Him about, because sometimes what happens is we have such a desire for certain things, it is not what He wants for us. And that breeds frustration. That even breeds jealousy of people who have poured into your life. You become jealous of people who have done for you, who have prayed for you. And that's not of God. So I admonish you to be specific in the things that you desire from him. God is so good, guys. If we would just listen, if we would yearn and thirst for him, he would continue to speak to us. And I'm just excited for this season. I'm excited for the rest of 2021. I am honestly not even rushing 2022, even though these months are going like days. Like these months are going like days. It has been crazy. But he's so good. And for those who may be going through something, I pray with you that you seek him. I pray with you that you allow him to comfort you. I pray with you that you will allow him to speak to you and that you will hear him with a sincere ear, that you will have a sincere yes praise on your heart. Amen. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for our guests. I'm going to give her a few minutes and just bask in God. Miranda Curtis, I'm telling you, she different. She is different. When I hear this lady's music, I go somewhere else. And there's nothing like being in the presence of God. There's nothing like allowing him to speak to your spirit, to your heart. There's nothing like walking through your home and just allowing God to move things around, and he be specific in those things you need to pray for in your home. Some of you are going through it. You'd rather be at work than in your home, and that's an issue. Your home should be your safe space. Your home should be your sanctuary. Your home should be your place of peace. So you should not feel like you're imprisoned in your home. You should not feel like when you go home it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be, all these things. Be specific in your home. God said he would save our whole household. So be specific in those things that you desire for your home, for your spouse, for your children. If you don't have children, for the person that you're dealing with, for the family that's in your home, whatever it is, be specific in the things that you desire, in your home, in your safe space. I don't know if you've seen the movie, War Room. That movie kind of changed my life. Just saying how important it is to have a space in your home where you can just be with God and allow him to download things that you desire. Allow him to download things that you are seeking him for. Amen. So I admonish you to just be specific and just, increase your relationship with God. How you treat Bae. You can't go a day without seeing him or seeing her. You want to treat God the same way or even more. You want to be with him. You want to be seeking him. You want to take the things that he says to you seriously. Like we take our significant other. When they're speaking to us, we're attentive. When they're speaking to us, we want to understand. When they're speaking to us and they're telling us what they desire, we want to be understand and be attentive to their needs. Amen. So that's the thing you want to do when it comes to God. You want to have a desire to please him. You want to have a desire to hear from him, and just know that all that you are doing is glorifying him, that all you are doing is not putting his son back on that cross, that all you are doing is pleasing in his eyesight, that all you are doing is when those pearly gates open, that you can hear the words, my good and faithful servant, welcome. That's what we do this for. So our testimonies are not just about us, they're about somebody else. So I don't know why God had me say that, but it's probably for me. He deals with the messenger first. I got to a place recently where I had to repent because I didn't want to share a testimony because of what it was, not knowing how it was going to be received. And God said, no, our testimonies are not just about us, they're about the next person, because you don't know, they need to hear that thing. They need to be encouraged by your story. They need to be encouraged by what you went through and what you overcame, understanding that God is real. Amen. So, we want to understand that this thing is way, way, way bigger than us. This Hot Mic with Lady She podcast is bigger than me. This Hot Mic with Lady She podcast, episode 4, is bigger than Lady Teresha Sweeney. This Hot Mic podcast with Lady She is bigger than the Latif Miles. You know, he's an educator. So this thing is going to resonate into the parents who are entrusting him with their children because they see his personality, because they see what kind of person he is outside of work. You know, this thing is bigger than Miss Bridget Wilson, you know, who's baking cakes and making cupcakes. Oh, just a reminder, I need to order me some. But it's bigger than just her because she's touching people who went through a domestic violence situation. She's teaching them that I got out of it. I got through it because it was God. So understand and be clear. Your life is not your own. Your life is for the next person. Your life is for your spouse who's watching your every move, like trying to understand, like, how are they doing this? It's God. Your life is for your children who may be going through some things, but they be like, yo, my mom's pushed through. Like, yo, my mom's went to school while she was pregnant. Like, yo, my mom did this, and she had this against her, but she still did it. Like my father, oh, he's a black man, and we see what's all going on in society against our men. But my father is a trucker, but my father is this, my father is that. So your life is not about you. It's not just about you. It's about others. So that's what we want to do. So we're going to welcome in Miss Teresha Sweeney. I'm going to let her in here.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, hello,
Welcome.
beautiful.
Thank
you doing? I'm good. How are you?
I am awesome. Let me just cut this up a little bit. Right, it was low. I didn't even realize that. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I'm echoing. I don't know why. Okay. All right. Welcome to Hot Mic with Lady She, episode 4.
Well, hello. I'm excited to be here.
I am super excited that you are here with us on tonight. Let me just introduce you, everyone. This is the lovely Teresha Sweeney from North Carolina. She is from Harlem to Barnes and Nobles, honey. She is doing big things.
Okay.
She is doing big things. She is a new author. She is a wife. She is a mom. She is an entrepreneur, and we are so excited to hear her story and have her bless this platform. You know, please have an open mind. I'm super excited. I have questions. This time, I'm going to try my best to watch the chat because last time I did not. So I'm going to try to look over to see if there are comments. You know, you can invite people in on this live so we can make Miss Sweeney more comfortable because this isn't easy, y'all. This isn't easy being put on the spot. So welcome.
I mean, I already feel the heat. I already feel the heat coming.
It ain't gonna get too hot. It ain't gonna get too hot. Well, let me not promise that. Let me not promise that. All right. So let me start with you can actually say your full name because you are married. I use your maiden name, so you're welcome to introduce yourself as you see fit.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I just like Teresha Sweeney. Let me tell you, I'm gonna stay true to my last name, to that Sweeney name. I'm holding on to it. And you know, it's to me, it's that last bit that keeps me close to my dad's side, you know, especially my grandmother, you know, who was just she was very important to me, and she holds, you know, a huge part of my heart. And everything about that last name is me. And
Right.
so I'm just too, you know. So will always be that.
I'm too.
Yeah.
Amen. All right. Let's be clear. She is forever a Sweeney. I love it.
So I am forever a Sweeney.
So, you know, just you tapping into that, let's just actually jump into that, connected to your father and your grandmother. So what was your growing up environment like? Like, you know, share with us who Tutu was as a child and, you know, how many siblings you have and what was the dynamics of your home coming up?
Oh, absolutely. That's a good question. So, so you already mentioned, you know, I'm from Harlem, 5 brothers, 1 sister. My dad died when I was young, and I was only 5, but I remember him. I have fond memories of him. Um, he was important to me in those 5 years. I even remember, you know, down to the last time I saw him at the hospital. So, those memories, um, I keep close to me. But it's honestly, it's my grandmother. I think anybody who knows me know how I feel about my grandmother. I was just watching videos of her last night. I listened to, that's what I have. She passed away almost 4 years ago this month. And I miss her. I miss her dearly. When my dad passed away, she stepped in and she took us and all 5 of us. I mean, it wasn't just us. She had everybody. But in
Right.
my home, my grandmother picked us up. She took us from Harlem all the way to her house in Long Island. She kept us for the weekends, for holidays. Christmas is my favorite holiday because of my grandmother.
Right.
I feel like everything about me that is love came from my grandmother. And that is not to take away from, I can tell you the creative part of me, the writer of me, that came from my mother. She's always been big on words and writing and reading. And that part came from her, that I felt from my grandmother that allowed me to always feel like no matter what, I can still push through. And I always, always felt like, if it wasn't for her, I just truly don't know um, how I would have turned out just as a person. I mean, she filled my heart with so much love. And I think that's important for a lot of people to realize that it's the love, you know. And so
Absolutely.
I wish she
Absolutely.
was here. I wish she was here. I think about that all the time. I'm in a good place in my life, and I wish that she was here so that I could take care of her the way she took care of me.
Right.
But I know she knew how much I care for her. So, and that's what mattered.
I know she knew too. Amen.
Hmm.
Amen. It's
Yeah,
like you know, it's so funny. It's like the grandmother, it's a different kind of love. It's like you kind of can't explain it, but it's something that resonates in your spirit for your
hmm,
life. Like it's their love is just different. I
absolutely.
cannot explain it because it's just different. Like it's just different. I know that feeling because when I lost my grandmother, I checked out, child. I was a goner. And I
Yep,
thank God for keeping,
yep,
keeping my mind like because once that love is gone and you're not really taught, how to move past it, things start to
hmm,
go on. Things start to attach to your
hmm.
spirit and you can go into a place that well you can't come out of. Some people can't come out of it.
That's true.
So
That's true.
thank you for sharing that. I love that you said I can remember even at 5. What were some of the things that were significant with your father? Do you mind sharing like how he passed away?
No, my dad died from a brain tumor. And, growing up, I always knew he died from cancer, but that was as far as it was, right? I knew he died when, my father was only 35, right? He
Wow.
died 3 months after he turned 35. And what's amazing is I've always been like his birthday gift because my father's birthday is the 6th of March, and then I came on the 7th, so right after he
Wow.
turned 30. Yeah, so I was the first girl on that side. So, it was me and I remember he had this green car. I sure hope that was the color, but I remember he had a car and he used to let me sit on his lap and, and steer that wheel. And those are things that I'm like, oh, kids know when they are loved, right? They can feel it. They can sense
Yes.
when they are
Yes.
in good company. They know when they can trust the adults around them. And I trusted him. Gave me. I remember my dad would go out and work. So for me, I think even at 5, that was important because it reminded me that you know a man will take care of his family. He will get up and he will go out and he will do what he needs to do for his children and his wife. So I watched my dad do that, and my dad was he was no joke, right? I mean, my brothers they have more memories you know, of my dad that way, but I remember the times where I just sat with him, and I remember when he went into the hospital. Um, my mother dropped me off at a friend at her one of her friends' house. Said, "Oh, going into the hospital." The last time I saw him outside of the hospital, but then I went to see him in the hospital. He had this like mustard kind of, I think it was like a mustard color robe, and he gave me a piece of candy. And he was like, "Tutu, Daddy will see you, after the weekend." And he had surgery, and that was the last time I saw him. That was it. But and I remember it was my grandmother and my uncle who told me that he passed away. And they said he went to heaven. And even at 5, I understood that that meant I would never see him again.
Right.
And that was the first time I ever felt real right. And then that it was like my grandmother kind of came in and became that dad for me, right? I love her for that. I'll never stop appreciating her for that. So yeah, I mean, I knew what it was
Wow.
at 5. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. At
Yep. So
5.
I just try to
Wow.
be
God is
to
something
my
else.
children what they were to me. Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. So now at 5, and you going through your own pain, somewhat understanding at that age that your dad, you will never see him again. How was that watching your mom, go through that pain as well? Sometimes we forget, we get bits and pieces from our childhood, not realizing like the moms had to hold it down. Like there had to be a different kind of
Hmm.
strength. Like, so what was your mom like, understanding that she had to now raise 5 children, or 6 children rather, on her own.
I think that was tough. I mean, especially back then, right? Because my dad was the one that was working, right? And I'm going to be honest with you. I've said this before, maybe to a sibling or a really close friend, but I think it was my dad, the one who wanted all the kids, to be quite
Right.
honest. So when he left, I think that did something to my mom, but it would do that to any woman, right? I mean,
Right.
you have these babies, these small kids. I mean, my youngest brother he was just a baby. He has no memories of my dad whatsoever. My sister may, I mean, but that's her story to tell. But we were young. Okay, I was 5, Sean was 7, who Damon was 8. Damon wasn't even 9 yet. But we were all young, and I think it did something to my mother because she had to become somebody else. She had to now step up, raise all of these kids, and I don't want to say she did it on her own because there were people to help, but at the same
Right.
time, at the end of the day, and at night, it was her and it was us,
Right.
and that's what it boiled down to. So as a mother, like I think, I mean, it's difficult. It's hard. Any parent knows what it's like to have children. So it's hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So now you shared that, well, you didn't share just what you sent me. You mentioned that, how many children do you have?
4.
You have 4 children. So
Hmm.
your oldest son Remy is basically, is he like the catalyst of what started to make you really start to take life serious? Like, I gotta do something different. Harlem's not it. Like, what was
I'm
that
gonna be
like?
honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. Before I had Remy, I knew there was more to what I wanted in life. Okay, so to this day I love Harlem. I love Harlem. I love New York. But I knew I wanted more
Mhm.
than what my environment was. I wanted more. But having Remy and him being a boy, I was like, I can't, I can't let my kid grow up like this. I want so much more for him. And with him being a boy, and I wasn't taking a chance at the streets taking my son. And
Right.
so I decided that I had to do something for him.
Right.
Um, but I'm going to be quite honest with you. It wasn't until Ooh, I think I have to say till I had Matthew, my youngest son, where I was like, okay, it's time to buckle down. Like I'm an adult now, like I'm grown, like I got three boys. And I remember saying, like, God, why would you give me three boys? What am I gonna do with three boys? Um, but yeah, I knew with those boys that they needed like someone strong. They needed someone that was going to be there, that was going to lead them, guide them. And I was married before, to their dad, and um, it didn't work out. And decision to each situation just because that was their father. Their father to remove them and make life better for them. And if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't hesitate.
So do you think there's like an influx, or now that you're an adult, do you see that it's a common thing for women to stay in the marriage because of the children, thinking that it's helping, not understanding that it could be damaging?
Um, Let me say this. I think because I felt like in a way it happened with me. I think sometimes as Black women, we have this idea of I don't need a man. I don't need him. Do it. You can raise these kids on your own. And while you can, because so many of us do it, I don't think that's the first thought, right? We shouldn't just be like, oh, we can do it on our own, right? Um, right? I can't say because it worked for
Right.
me that it's going to work for everybody else. There were times when I thought if I didn't have everyone in my ear, could I have made it work with my ex-husband, and raised my kids? So, but I'll never know that answer. All I know is the decision that I made was it was the right decision. And to look at my kids now, I think if I didn't do anything right, it was my kids and the decisions that I made. So to answer your question, I think sometimes women do get stuck because they're afraid of the unknown, right? Well, can I do this on my own?
Right.
How am I going to raise this kid? It's a difficult decision, so they choose to stay. And again, I'm not here to make that call for everyone, but I think there's strength in each and every one of us, and sometimes we just don't realize how strong we are
Right.
until we're forced to step
Yes.
up. And I think for
Tap
me,
in.
I
Right.
was forced, and yeah, and I had to, and I said, for them. And
Right.
Remy is my rider. I mean, like that kid has been with me since, I mean, of course, since he was born, but
Through
he's
everything.
he's just been my buddy through everything, right? Like we would ride up and down the road. Um, like me and him, we have a different kind of relationship. So he's definitely been points in my life. So I just, if anything, I just say to moms out there that, just don't give up. Like it may seem difficult in the moment because I have had some difficult and some trying times. Like if I allowed my situation to get the best of me in this conversation. So in the moment, it may
Right.
look bleak, it may look like it's over, but just don't stop. Just like you said, just tap in because it's something deep and something strong than each and every one of us. To be honest with you, like I love our people. I mean, we are resilient. Like
Well,
we'll keep
awesome.
going. Yes. So just
Absolutely.
just tap into
Absolutely.
that inner strength.
Right. Amen. Awesome. So, how was it with the transition of the kids? Did you have like outside help that was able to help them to understand, in life, parents don't wake up to say, I want to be divorced and I don't want to be together. I don't want to make it work with the kids. How was that? Did you have like actual conversations? Because the book I'm writing right now is connected to how, I don't want to just say in the Black community, but we Black.
Hmm.
But in our
Right.
community,
Right.
the hard conversations just aren't had. And it shows up in our children. It shows up in their behavior. It shows up
Absolutely.
in the decision that they make. So, was there some type of support, not just enforced when it came to the kids understanding, you didn't do anything wrong. Mom and dad try. It doesn't mean we don't love you. We absolutely love you, but we just have taken us our season as an item is now over. Was there conversations with the children?
That's a great question, and I completely agree. I don't think those conversations are had. And no, in the beginning I didn't. Right? I had that mindset of, oh, I can do this, right? I can go, and there was really no, in my mind, with especially with Remy, right? He's young, he doesn't understand. But as he learned, and I would say, then I had Isaiah, I started to notice that it is very important for him to understand that it's not his fault. And it's not his fault that his dad isn't around, that we're not together, because he had friends where his friends had both parents. And I didn't want him to be
Right.
left trying to figure it out. So I did have those conversations with him. And, but again, what, and immediately it was, I had to make up for it, right? Like I had to show him that because he did parents, that it was okay, right? That he wouldn't lack for. That's also not a good thing either, because then you have to be honest with children. I think when you're honest with them, they understand, right?
Right.
It's when we lie and we allow them to believe, to come up with a story, is when it hurts them. And it's important that so I mean at some point and I'm in the 20, and every now and again I'll still have those conversations. I'll say, it's what you growing up had nothing to do with you, right? Because he didn't. I mean, for
Right.
of the a few years of his life, he didn't have that, and all he had was me. And I think
Mhm.
that bothered him. I do.
Right.
But it also made relationship stronger because he knew that it had nothing to do with him. It wasn't his fault, and it wasn't my fault. Sometimes people just don't work out, and I also told him that sometimes
Right.
people just don't know how to be parents. Even they love you, but they don't know
Absolutely.
how to be the parent for you. And so I wanted him to not only understand that it wasn't his fault that we weren't together, but it's not his fault that his dad wasn't his dad, wasn't present,
Right.
and that has nothing to do with his dad. His dad has to figure that out, not not my kids.
Right. Right. Awesome. Awesome. So, do you them now having, because you're newly married, well, not newly married, you now married again? How,
You can say that.
how
You can say that.
is newly?
No, I'm just messing. I'm just messing.
So how was that like helping them to understand, you know, okay, mom, still got to do her. You know what I'm saying? This person, I'm never
Right?
going to bring anyone into your life that isn't going to love you as much as they love me. We're a package deal. So
Hmm.
how is it where, because sometimes kids will shut down where they're like, okay, this is not my father. I don't know how to treat them like my father because it's not my father. And then because I never really had a relationship with a father, I don't
Hmm.
know how to act with this person. So how was
Right.
that transition?
I think honestly, I think it was. I would say it was super easy for my kids, but my kids and I have an open relationship. We have a great relationship. So I began to introduce as as a friend, right? So it had a point where I was comfortable enough to say this person is going to be around.
Hmm.
Um, but there's no real guarantee. Let's we have to be honest with ourselves, right? And so
Right.
um, I was honest with my kids, and I said, mom met someone, and I want you to meet him. I want you to meet him. Let me know if you like him, and it was cool with my kids. And I think my kids, because we have such a good relationship, my kids will tell me, Mom, it's a no. Or, Mom, I'm not really sure about this. Or this person doesn't make me feel. They don't even say it about like the guy. Like if I brought a friend over, my kids be like, I don't get a good vibe from this person. So
Oh, yes, kids.
because I teach them to, yes, yeah, my kids and I are at the end of the day, and that things that there's a boundary, but we're very open. We're very open. So,
Right, right.
yeah, I mean, I had me when I was 22. So, you know, part of it was I was growing up with them,
With
and
him.
and I established a relationship where, I'm parent, but I was right, and so we were very close. I'm just really close with my kids.
I love that. She say like,
They're like my little people.
that's a dub. He ain't right.
Oh, they don't play.
They
Yeah,
be like,
no.
they
Yeah,
be in the
they'll
kitchen
tell me.
like, they be like, Ma.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
they'll
it's
tell
no.
me. They won't even say it in the kitchen. My kids, what kids do these days. They'll text. They'll
They
text
on
from
the
upstairs.
iPhone like, it's
Yes,
no.
they are.
Yo, I'm done. That is funny. I love it. All right, so let's jump in. So your mom,
All right.
your wife, you said 4 children. Now,
4. Yep.
what inspired you to write this book? Please tell the people about this book. Let me just say this first. I read this book in a day. It was so good.
Yes.
I was
Okay.
like, wait a
Well, thank you.
minute. Okay,
Thank you.
it was so good. Not because you're my relative. I enjoyed it. Okay. I was at
I
work on my
appreciate
lunch
that.
break,
I
like,
appreciate that. Let me tell
I'm like,
you.
hold on, wait a minute now. Hold up. Wait, what? I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm so proud of you.
Well,
But
I
I want
appreciate
you
that.
to
Thank you.
tell the people the title of the book and just give your take on what you want them to know about the book so they can go purchase this book.
Well, first of all, let me just say that I appreciate and I really appreciate you having me here to talk about the book. And what inspired me about the book, it's love crossing. Um, and honestly, what inspired me about this book was for me to get out my feelings, right? I'm telling you something, this girl in the book, Vanessa, is a fierce young
Dope.
sister. Okay, she's
Dope.
fiery.
He's
And
dope.
she's creative and she's everything I wanted to be in my 20s. Okay, and so
Okay.
I love her. Okay, and what inspired me about it was the fact to write. Right, I love to tell stories, and I always did it in my own way, hidden. I'm real low key to an extent. And
Mhm.
so during COVID, I was like, man, I was talking to my girlfriend and she was like, why don't you put some of that stuff in the book? And I was like, you know what? I should. And then I was a little hesitant, but I said, it's time for me to tell my story because here's the thing. Like Vanessa, we think we know, when we found the one. We think we know when we're so in love and so young. And at the end of the day, things happen. And then we figure out, okay, how am I going to pick myself up? Right? Because I
Mhm.
was so in love with this guy and I wanted so much from this guy. And then, some people turn around and they're like, what, now I'm going to do me. And I think with Vanessa, that was exactly her stance. She was like, well, you know what? I'm in this stale relationship, right? Kind of don't really want to be in it, right? So, and sometimes we stay because a piece of man is better than no man, right?
Familiar.
Some of us say, okay. And so you find yourself in those situations, then you find yourself in love, and then you realize the one you thought you loved don't really love you back the way you love them. And um, and then perhaps maybe a love that you didn't expect. And I think what you'll find in the book is that you can, she's relatable, right? I wanted to make her
Right.
relatable. She's your girlfriend, she's your cousin, she's your sister. She could be somebody that
Right.
you want to get to know. And so that was the way I approached it. And, you know, and telling pieces of my story, right? And
Right.
I wanted to put it out there, let and honestly, like it was therapeutic for me to get it out, to write about it. But I also wanted to tell my story. And just like Vanessa, or me, like she was, very close to her grandmother, and her grandmother was a big piece of her life. So I think with with Vanessa, you're gonna get a little bit of everything with her, right? She's
Right.
smart and sassy, but she also is a sister. She's gonna get down with the get down. So I
Right.
love that about her. And
Hmm.
I think that kind of reminds me of me. I kind of fit in just about anywhere, right? Um, so right in the book, I wanted to make her relatable. I wanted my audience to read about her and not just get to know her, but also say, man, she could be my friend. She could be somebody I know. And then I also
Love,
wanted,
love,
my
love it.
audience to dislike certain people in the book. So we'll see. Um,
Yeah.
so
I love the book. I was like, you
thank
better
you.
go ahead and stop playing with, you ain't come to play. She said,
I
oh,
did not.
y'all gonna learn who Akua is. Like, how do you say it? And what does that mean?
Okay, so Akua is it is right, and in the Ghanaian culture, the day you're born is the day, that's the name you're given, right? And so I was born on a
Wow.
Wednesday, and so
Right.
the name is Akua. And well, okay, so my girlfriend is Ghanaian, and she basically, helped me with that, right? Because she
Right.
was the one who started, since she started calling me Akua, and I was just like, I love that.
I love
And
it.
so
I love
now
it.
I love it. I love it. And so I'm like, okay, I'm taking that, and I'm running.
It be the friends, child. It be the
So if
friends.
you anybody out there born on a Wednesday, you could be exactly
You
Akua.
I love that. That is that is dope. That is dope. I love it. But yes, Love Crossings, people. Where can they buy the book?
So they can buy it on my website at akuaworks.me. They can also find it on
Spell
Amazon.
spell it, spell it, spell it.
It is Akua Works WORKS.me. And I'm telling you, if you're looking for a
All
good
right.
read, go check out my book, because Vanessa is a sister you
Yes.
definitely want to learn about. And I'm gonna just go
I
ahead and put
love
it out there,
it.
but it's definitely more to the story. So
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So where do you see this journey taking you? Let me go back a little bit,
mhm.
because you mentioned your mom, that you got the writing from your mom. My mom
Yeah.
was a writer also, and that's why I felt I got writing from. Writing has always been therapeutic for me.
Hmm.
Like, was that like growing up, was writing like your safe place? Because that was my safe place. That was like my outlet for everything. Like, are you like a habitual journaler? Like, do you write for other people? Like, how did this come about with the writing?
Were surprised. They were like, Tutu is right. Because it was an outlet for me. And as a kid, I used to write plays and I used to write short stories. And my sister can tell you, when we were at my grandmother's house, I would write a play and I would literally force them to be in the needed it. But I did that, and I think, and one thing I want to put out there, right? And this is for all the moms, the parents. I want to put out there is that when you see something in your child, like nourish that,
Talk to them.
like help them with
Talk
that.
to them.
Because let me tell you something, if a child doesn't feel supported, they will back away from it. If they don't feel like they can do it, they'll back away from it. And I'm not saying that I didn't have that, but I also wasn't nudged to go ahead with that.
I hear that.
You have something, do that. And that's okay, right? Because I'm here now. If you see something special in your kid, like push them at it. Don't, everybody is not made for math. Everybody is not made for literature. Everyone isn't made to
Right.
be, in a school setting. People have gifts, and it's important that
Right.
you recognize them and you help them, right? And let that blossom, let that grow. Um, So for
Absolutely.
me, it was an outlet, right? And then I would throw them away because I didn't want people to read, what I put in there. And then as I got older, I still would journal. As far as writing for people, I write poems for some of my friends, my close friends, right?
Mm.
Anybody who's asked me, oh, can you write? And sometimes, like if things happen, I'll just send it to them. So I'm very quiet with it, because it means a
Mhm.
lot to me when I put things
Right.
on paper. So I love it. I love it, and I always encourage my kids. I tell them, I
Yes.
said, listen, whatever it is for you, I said, find it and like work towards it. Like, don't be
Right.
afraid to try it. Like, like I think a lot of times we're
Right.
afraid that we're gonna fail, we're not gonna be good enough, or no one will like it. It doesn't, honestly, when I wrote this book, I thought at the end of the day, when I released this book, oh, that's it. Like, that's amazing for me, right? Because that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
do. It was for me. It was for me.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm like, oh, I want people to like it. But I like it. I enjoyed it. I laughed writing it. I mean, I went back reading it. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And I think that's what's important, is that you love what you do. Yep.
Absolutely. That was a great message. And thank you for saying that, to the parents, because, I'm big on the youth. So I'm always talking to parents and encouraging them, if you see your kid has a certain gift, don't make them feel bad about it. Don't try to make them feel embarrassed,
Right.
if other kids are not gifted in that. Some of us have talkers. Like, I got one child that's a talker. So certain things that he wants to do, I'm helping him to push him along, because I could be dealing with him being like this and me nervous, like, did something happen
Right.
to you? Why don't you talk? So what you just said, it was very,
Right.
very, very important. And you also have to be mindful of each kid is different. You have to be
Right.
paying attention to what one has going on, the other may not. So you have to be able to have discernment, about each one of your kids and their needs. So thank you so much, for sharing that, with the people. So what message, connected to your life, being from New York, moving to, North Carolina. What do you do for a profession? Because you live in
I
North
work in
Carolina
clinical
now, or
research.
was it Chicago? Clinical research. Okay.
Mhm. I'm in North Carolina for the moment.
Okay.
I'm glad
Okay.
that I'm in North Carolina, but yeah, I like to move around. Um, and I think
Right.
I'm ready for my next move. Um,
Hmm.
but you asked me a question like, where do I want to see this go, right? And the biggest thing is showing someone else who or vision, um, but they're afraid to step out, right? Is that there's no real time that will be the right time. I can't tell you when it's the right time. Just step
Right.
out. Sometimes you just got to step out, and trust the process. Trust yourself. You know, trust God, and just wait. And we expect things to happen in our life because we
Right.
see we see our friends, thriving, or we see the neighbor thriving, and we wonder, why isn't it happening for me? Because it's not your time, right?
Right.
It's not your time, and you have to respect that, right? Be happy for it'll come to you, right? Don't miss your blessing because you focusing on what's happening for somebody else.
You better
So
teach.
for me, the biggest message is, I mean, I'm 42, and I wrote my first book and published my first book at 42, even though I've always had the desire to do so. Um, so it's there's no time that is right, is perfect. It is timing is key when it's for you. And I think that's what people have to remember, because everything that happens for your neighbor is not necessarily for you.
And that's a fact. That is a fact. So now you wrote the book during the pandemic. How was life for you, your
Hmm.
husband, your household? How was it, during the pandemic? Like with my family, some of us lost people that we knew, just being closed in.
Yeah.
I can only, God was also blessing us during the pandemic. So what was it like for you and
Yeah.
your family during the pandemic?
For starters, it was scary. Number one. I mean, just not. Here's the thing. I'm thankful. No one close um, got sick, or I didn't lose anyone very, very close to me. Like I knew people and I knew of people. So I'm very thankful for that. So let me put that out there. I'm constantly saying, God continue to cover us, because this thing isn't over.
Yes.
Um, but it was scary because you just didn't know. And I was sick back in 2018. For me, it's like, if you cough on me, it's no telling. I need you to stay away. So I mean,
Right.
I was locked indoors. They did virtual school, just about every other kid. So it was scary in the beginning, and then I started to kind of ease up a little bit when I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe we can step out now. But at the same, like you said, that it was also a blessing because I was still able to work. I didn't lose out like a lot of people, so I'm very thankful for that, and thankful that I didn't get sick too. So kind of want
Right. Right.
everybody to keep your germs on the outside of the door, stay on that
Right.
side,
Right. Right.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I just honestly, I don't really do much of anything. I am, I keep my little small circle. So when everything was shutting down, it didn't really bother me. I was like,
Right.
cool.
Right.
Now, I won't, have anybody ask me, do I want to do anything? Because now you can't. So that was even better. So,
So did anything in that time frame, can you think of anything that was like that stood out where you were like, whoa, this happened during the pandemic? Or something that was like, this happened for my family during the pandemic, besides the book. Like, how like
okay. So
some
my
people was
kids and I
like
have always
having
been
problems.
close, but mm, no, girl. I mean, for me, it was the opposite. It was the love. Like
Nice.
me and my guy, like my Odie. I mean, he is everything. Like, it was the complete opposite for me. So,
Good.
there wasn't any friction. Um,
Mhm.
but me and my kids, we've always been close. With the pandemic, it just allowed me to kind of like and reflect, right? Because I work a lot, like a lot of other
Right.
parents, right? I work a lot, and my kids were doing their thing, and I'm working. But this time, it was like, okay, we can't do anything. So I was like, I'm not letting. I mean, this job will be here, right? I have to focus on what's happening in the world. So
Right.
that's something that had correct and refocus on what was important. And my kids always been important, but I think I always had this. Well, they know I'm working. They know I'm working, but no,
Mhm.
we did things together. I made them because work where I was working. They was like, all right, this is a bit much. You're doing too much, mom. You're doing too much.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay. So
So yeah.
let me see. What where do you see where do you see yourself in 5 years? But as a
Oh.
woman who's married, who has children, but also in reference to your career, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Wait, let me ask this first.
Mhm.
You said you like to move around. How does that work with the dynamics of the household? Like, that means the kids have to change schools and stuff, right? Like, how does that go?
What? Because I said I want to move.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, so my middle son, Isaiah, he's graduating high school, and I
High school.
promised that I
Okay.
would stay put until he graduates high school because he's
Okay.
the one that this one does not change, right? He is opposite of me when it comes to structure, and like he is keep you behind still. You're doing too much.
Routine.
I have friends. Yes, he loves routine. Um, and my other kids, they're like they can adapt, right? They're like, hey, like I'm with you, mom, like whatever. And for me, it was important to, as long as my kids were okay, then nothing else mattered. So if my kids came to me and said, Mom, I'm really not sure about this move, then it's not happening. But if my kids are riding with me and they're
Wow.
like, Mom, we're good, then we're good. So to answer your question, in 5 years, I see myself, um, I'm hoping and praying much. I see myself opening up my own cafe. I've been working towards it of like have my vision
Nice.
together. I have a plan. I want to open a cafe. I want to do spoken word. I want to create a
Yes.
safe space for creative people, right? And so that's my goal. So in 5 years, that's what I plan to have it open already. So we'll see. And let me tell you, like I always in, what you want and your plan and like I can clearly, so when I put my mind to, I almost don't stop until it happens. And so for me, um, yeah, y'all look out for Nobia's Cafe because that's exactly what it's gonna be in a
What is it called?
few years. Nobia's
What's it
Cafe.
going to be called? Nobody's Cafe. I love it. I love
Nobia's?
it. Listen, you
Yep,
have to see it
yep.
before you see it.
I
You
see it,
have
girl.
to
Yes,
see
I
it before
do.
you see it. That's
Yes,
the only way.
I
That's the
see it.
only way. Because if you don't see it, you're going to get sidetracked. If you don't see it, you're going to start doing other things.
No,
When you see it in the vision, you see it in the spirit, you're going to start making a move towards that thing. So I'm going to say congratulations in advance
absolutely,
for the cafe.
absolutely. Appreciate
Because it's
it.
probably going
Thank
to come
you.
way before
Thank
five
you.
years. Yes, it's going to come
You
before
know what?
five
That's
years.
the
We're going to
goal.
keep that.
That is the goal. That is the goal. That
Yeah.
is the goal. But in 5 years, definitely it will be up.
Love that. Love, love, love that. All right. So, Love Crossing. We got a part
Yes.
two or a sequel. What we got going on with the
We got a
book?
sequel, definitely. We got a sequel coming. We got a sequel coming. I actually just got back from California. I went out to California, had an extended weekend because I needed time. I needed time to focus. I needed some inspiration. I already started writing the
Right.
book, but I needed that. I went out to California. I went to Napa Valley. I just enjoyed myself. I loved on myself, and that's what it was all
Yes.
about. And in the middle of that, I kept getting ideas, and I'm like, this is exactly how I'm going to spend this. So it's definitely in the works. It'll be out in 22.
All right. Well, we can't wait. We want to see what Vanessa got going on, child.
Hmm.
Vanessa is something else.
Thank you.
And
Thank
that
you.
is awesome.
Oh,
That is
Vanessa
awesome,
is
awesome,
still up
awesome.
to still up.
All right. So Any last statements, quotes, phrases that you would like to share? Because this platform is, of course, She's 3 E's. You know, we want to encourage, we want to empower, and we want to educate. So is there anything you would like to say to, you know, your readers, soon to be readers, to the audience of those who have come on to support you, you know, to leave them with?
Yeah, you know what? And I've already said it, but I'm gonna say it again. I think it's important to believe in yourself, right? Believe in yourself when no one else believes in you, because at the end of the day, it's you, right? You go to sleep at night with those dreams in the morning, the next day, you know when you're missing out on them, right? So don't let fear stop you, right? No matter what, don't let fear stop you. If you have a dream, go for it. Doesn't matter the age, doesn't matter the situation. Believe in yourself, no matter what. And one thing I hoped to gain through this process was also to get people back into to reading again and being hopeful, right? I think sometimes, especially now, we're a little too serious, right? Everything is too serious,
Right.
or you have to be a certain way. We're following social media so much, and looking to see how this one is living, that one. Like let's go back to the simpler times where we can dream again and we can be hopeful. And I think
Yes,
that's
love
important.
that.
So don't give up. Don't give up. Whatever your passion
Dream
is, whatever
again.
your dream is, go for it. Absolutely.
Love it.
Dream again.
Love, love, love. Dream again. I'm about to make you a shirt that say dream again. I love that.
Please
I
do.
love that.
Please do.
I
Please.
love that. Dream again.
Yes.
I love that. So to contact you, to support you, just let me just run it down. For the book is titled Love Crossing. Her Instagram page is lovecrossing_Akua, which is AKUA. You can visit her website, which is www.akuaworks.me. That's www.akuaworks.me. And that is how you can see information on her. You can look into her book, and she'll probably start to share little pieces of what's next for Vanessa. And we will be waiting. We, the readers, shall be waiting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Some of us love a good read, and not just reading people, but a good book.
Yes. Please
Some
look
of
up.
us love books. Some of us love books. So we just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Is there anyone you want to say anything to specifically before we close out?
I just want to say thank you, honestly, for having me here. I do want to say I appreciate, this platform. I also appreciate you, like you are doing it, like you're an inspiration to a lot of us, right? And
Thank you.
I just want to, wish you the best and many. So I love that. So keep it pushing. So I just want to say that. And also, I'm never going to stop, shouting out my babies. So I love my babies. Shout out to my kiddos. They keep me moving. And, and a special shout out to my guy. I'm sure he's watching, but if he's not, he'll watch it later because he's working. But I love you, Odie. And, and all my, shout out to my girl, Destiny. I love her. She is definitely my little sister. And if you know, then you know. So thank you so much again for having me, and I appreciate it. So go read my book, and let me know what you think. And definitely expect the shenanigans with Vanessa in part 2.
Listen, Vanessa's a trip, y'all. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I know. You can relate to her. It was very refreshing. It was very refreshing to read a book where it's relatable and it ain't too crazy. Because people get a little crazy. So
I try,
get the book.
I try to give it a little balance. Yeah.
Right. Love Crossing. Author Teresha Sweeney, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for your example. thank you for your encouragement, and thank you so much for reminding me to keep going. This is what it's about. Iron sharpens iron, and that's what we need to be doing, for one another when we're, making strides, and when we have vision, and when we have, desires, and when we have plans and goals. You want, it feels good. It feels refreshing to have people to remind you you're doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? Even when you think you're not doing such a good job, to have other people tell you, whether they're close to you or on the outside, just to say a kind word, it doesn't hurt anybody. So, thank you so much. Thank you for the jewels you dropped, for the parents.
Thank you.
Because there's so much going on. We have seen in the news, people killing their children. So, for you to, let us know that, things are possible, even when you have children, even when, you go through some things, or even when you lose people that are close to you, you can still continue to push on in life. We thank you, for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your story. And we just want you to just continue to push forth in your writing, continue to, be super mom and, the wife, and do all those things that you desire, that your heart desires. And thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Absolutely.
I will cherish this. This is everything, for you guys. I did share, this is my blood cousin. Her grandmother that she is speaking on was syrupy sweet. I will never forget her. She loved my sons like they were hers. And, we absolutely miss her. And I know that she is smiling down at you, Tutu. Tutu's a nickname. Sorry. She's smiling down at you, Teresha.
Yeah, that's okay.
All of you. I know she's smiling down, proud of all of you and how you have turned out in your life. And she's up there with her son, just pleased at who you become as a woman of God, as a wife, as a mom, and now as an author. So continue to be unapologetically you. And hopefully the next book will have you up here again, sharing all you have going on.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That's right. That's right.
That's it. So thank you so much. And everyone, have a good night. Please order her book on Amazon or her website. Okay. Thank me later. Thank me later. Follow her on Instagram. Did I share the Instagram page?
Yep. You shared the Instagram. Yep. _Akua.
Yes. That's the Instagram page. Follow her, share her page, share her information. We the bookworms. Let somebody know there's another new book that you guys need to be reading. Start a book club or something. It's a good book.
Please.
All right.
Yes.
Love you. Love you. Love you. Love you.
Thank you. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too. All right.